Hey there, welcome back to Bernama Today. You're with me, Tamina Kausji, and now it's time for our weekly tech roundup, of course, with Khairil Amin, who is our tech analyst, who is in the house with us live right now. How are you, Khairil?
Always great, thank you.
Okay, brilliant. So, Khairil, it is also Cyber Monday now. So, Cyber Monday is basically the Monday following the US holiday of Thanksgiving, but it also means exceptional online deals, even in Malaysia. You know, Lazada, what have you, they are all actually on up to 85% sales. Is it also a good time to get tech deals?
You know, I think the Cyber Monday hasn't been that prevalent in Malaysia yet, because we just had the 11/11 sale that we were discussing.
Yes, we did,
day.
right? Are we still recovering from that? I think the retailers are.
And we're going to have 12/12 in a while. So we're coming up with all these ways to spend money. And I think at the end of the year, they're just trying to clear stock. So now would be a good time to look for deals, regardless of the time. Because sometimes you look at the deals that were actually advertised during, let's say, Cyber Monday have been there for a while. So it's like, it's a reason to kind of blast the public about these new, experiences, shopping online experiences. But having said that, you can still find these deals online. The good thing to note, I would recommend people to look for software updates or buying packages such as Microsoft Office, the Adobe Studio, and whatnot.
Because stay safe when you're online.
Yeah, because this is Americans, giving you the international deals. So you can actually buy them from US, but use them on your computer. So it trickles down all the way, well, around the world, actually. So I would say that software, definitely buy. See if there's any promotions today for software that you usually use. And if you use pirated software, remember it's always better to use the real stuff.
The real deal, right? Yeah. Okay, so speaking about the real deal, though, so we're actually going to go into, smartphones in particular. Now, a lot of people also think about getting themselves a new smartphone towards the end of the year to start on the new year with a bang. Now, smartphone-wise, let's talk about the current trend of actually packing on as many cameras as possible. I was just discussing this with Fabian before, and he was like, are you seriously discussing a smartphone with 5-8 cameras with Khairil later on? I was like, yes, actually we are. So what is this all about? Where does it stop? Is it madness, or is it actually tech supremacy?
It's interesting. I mean, to note, we have, this is my personal phone that is the first phone that came out with dual cameras. It's the HTC One M8, and that was a big thing, 2014. So it's not like it just started. Back in the days, people were thinking, why would you need a second one? But this came with a depth camera, and this is what you see in the plethora of phones that are coming out now. Something that kind of just sits on the side of the main camera and gives you that depth information, so you can create these bokeh effects, meaning to say the background is blurry and you're sharp in the foreground. So they're starting to implement this on the front cameras as well. So you get automatically, by doing this, you're getting 4 cameras in your phone. So now the trend becomes wide-angle cameras.
Yes, that's right. Capture more and more of the entire
LG has been doing it for 3 years. I think the industry was saying we don't really believe that, because LG phones were never really selling that well. But now they're starting to look, how do we make our products different? Because all the hands phones look the same. It's all candy bars. It's all basically the same. Right. Yeah. So how do we make it different? So now,
Nokia, on the other hand, is rumored to be having 8 cameras.
Yes, the penta camera, and that's incredible. So you think, why would I need so many cameras? But then again, if you look at the configurations, so we have one normal camera, one depth sensor, and then a wide-angle camera, which means it's kind of, you're trying to emulate a DSLR. I think we had a show here before where we said, when will the smartphone cameras replace our big cameras? And I think by stacking this kind of technology, as you can see there, you can actually compute. So
so that actually is the Nokia that we speak of. Gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
That's pretty interesting, isn't it? So it's computational photography, which we're going into now. So a lot of the smartphones actually have a lot of artificial intelligence built into them now, which means that with that kind of information, what can you do to kind of tweak the image to make it look more professional, so to speak? So it looks like a DSLR. And not all these lenses are, well, useful in a way, but it's a marketing gimmick
Not every
as well.
average user knows how to make the best of them.
It's just like, wow, I have 4 cameras, it must be good. But that's not always the case, because if you look at one of the best cameras in the market right now, which is the Google Pixel XL, only uses one camera. Yes, you have
spoken about this before.
Only one camera.
So what makes the Google Pixel XL so great? It just has one camera, but you're saying...
It's the software, because they're not limited by the hardware. They're just saying, look, we're going to play with one camera. Well, we're going to figure that stuff out computationally. We're not going to have that information given to us by sensors, hardware. We're just going to kind of compute it, figure it out on our own, and then make algorithms, which only they have. So others can't really recreate what they've done. And that's where they have the selling point.
So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. So, I think what you're going to start to see next year onwards is minimum 3 cameras at the back and 2 cameras at the front. One thing you have to remember is what kind of photography do you do? And this is something for you or not, because Apple went the way of having zoom. And would you need zooms or would you need wide angle lenses?
Right.
And sometimes, yeah, this is what we're looking at now is the Samsung Galaxy A7 2018.
Yes, and you also actually have one in the studio with us
Correct.
right now.
So you can see 3 cameras, 1 depth sensor, 1 wide angle lens, and 1 normal lens. So this is one of the first entries in the mid-range market that carries actually 3 cameras or 3 lenses.
Wow.
Which means that now you don't have to go for flagship level phones such as the Note.
So you actually do have the Samsung A7 with you right now. If we could actually zoom in on it so that we could get a closer look in real life. So this is also the electric blue colored model.
It is very electrifying.
And I must say I quite like it, and I generally don't like blue phones.
Yeah, this is the trend that we see now as well. A lot of, sharp, nice colors, beautiful colors. What I like about this phone, not only the back but the front. Samsung has not gone the notch way. So all phones that come out now from China are basically like Apple clones, and they will just put the notch on everything. If you look at this phone, the hue, it comes in 3 colors, but I think this blue color is really, really striking.
The most eye-catching, yes, I agree.
And this is a mid-range spec phone, but to note, it has an OLED panel. And just like the iPhones, even the iPhone XR does not even carry an OLED panel.
Right.
So Samsung has said, look, we're going to give some flagship features down to the mid-range market, and none of the phones that you see on the market today has an OLED panel or 3 cameras. And it has normal specs. So I think for people who don't really are not too concerned about RAM, gigabytes, or whatnot, you get the full Samsung experience. So I think their software is a lot better than most of the Chinese phones that we see today.
So is the A7, in your opinion, Kyril, going to be Samsung's way of fighting back against the decline in sales?
That's what we're thinking, because we took this phone out this weekend to have a look and see what it could do. And in terms of photography, you do get this standout feature, which is the wide angle. The cameras work well. The videos are great, as you can see in the segment right now. This is something that we shot. So it looks fantastic. I think it has a very good camera, but the wide angle lens is a standout feature, and this is one of the first times we see a camera that combines both at this price segment. One of the cool features that Samsung is doing is this slow motion video. So you can see you get 960 frames per second. So you slow it down really tremendously. And
so it literally is like cinematic quality. If you were shooting something on definitely a DSLR. Okay, that's you are.
The selfie cameras as well. So they really came out and said, we're going to do 5 cameras in this phone. We're going to price it at $1,299.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is if you look at the picture quality that we're able to get, and this is normal picture.
So we're also once again just to clarify, 1,299 in ringgit, right? Not USD.
Yeah, and during the deals that we were talking about, you can actually get it for about 1,001.
Yes, true.
So I think this is the time where Samsung says we're going to fight back.
Yeah, and we're going to fight back strong. So aside from the brilliant camera, what other features of the A7 do you actually see is part of their strategy to combat the mid-range segment, but with premium features?
I think number 1 feature, hands down, is the OLED screen. Because
why?
Samsung is one of the largest, if not the largest, OLED manufacturers in the world. So they sit on this technology and say, look, we don't have to use normal panels.
So they're actually making the best of it. Wow. Okay.
Correct. So they're saying, like, look, for this price, in this price segment, usually you have to compromise. And what the Chinese makers have done now is kind of say, look, we're going to give you a good processor, lots of RAM and everything, and the users might not need that, because you're saying I have great internals, but what does that mean to me? Nothing. So they said, look, we're going to give you a great camera and a good way to look at the photos that you take. And for some people, that's just enough. So imagine that you're getting flagship cameras and flagship screen. And for some
so would you
people,
say this is a super social media friendly phone, especially considering that most people do take a lot of their pictures to upload to their socials?
Absolutely, because I looked at the quality, I compared it to some of the higher end models. I wouldn't say it's up to that level, but for social media, if you're just posting it online, no problem at all. So I would definitely say that Samsung has come out strong. And at this price segment, it is a bit of a war right now, because what we've seen during this fall is just a tremendous amounts of phones that come out, and you're just going, what am I going to buy now?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Samsung A7 definitely one to look out for. So, but before I let you go, Kyril, let me just ask you about Ohio, which has just become the first state in America and perhaps maybe worldwide to accept Bitcoin for tax payments. Now, I wanted to key that in with the fact that also we're going to be having the Harapan coin, a paperwork and presentation which will be using cryptocurrency cryptocurrency. It will be collated soon and presented to Bank Negara Malaysia. What would you like to see in that working paper to make Harapan coin as easily acceptable on a high level as, you know, what Ohio has done? They're accepting it for tax payments.
Yes, I think what we need probably is not a new currency, but we do need a ledger system to keep track of transactions on government levels. And I don't think it should be politicized. I don't think they can say this is the Harapan coin, because if we switch governments in, let's say, 5 years, the new government was just going to say we're going to scrap this. So make it something which is neutral.
And especially in 5 years' time, definitely Bitcoin is going to see, of course, ups and downs, but no one can predict how much a part of daily life it will be.
And if you look at cryptocurrency, the coin itself is a technology. So it's not just I'm holding a coin. There is no such thing. But it's a ledger, meaning to say that we can connect to this technology and say we're going to keep all our transactions transparent. So there's not, someone cannot just come and say like, oh, I'm going to delete that message, because that was probably not a good thing to do. So you have to be transparent. And I think with that technology in place, people will be held accountable. And that's what's needed. So I think it's a great move, but I don't think you should be selling it as it's a currency. No, we need the technology that kind of enables this
to actually exist in the ecosystem.
But don't make it political. So I'm hoping that they say it's a Harapan coin, but then, you know, some people who don't like Harapan is going to say that's not a good idea, not counting in the fact that it's a great technology behind it.
Okay, maybe Malaysia Bitcoin instead. All right, so Khairil, it's been a pleasure as always. So there you have it, our tech segment for the week. I'm Tamina Khalji. We're signing off for now, but we'll be back right after the commercial break with Fabian Narcis and more.